Today is October 28, 2025. Across the country, a sense of unease hangs in the air. People are waking up to headlines they never thought they'd see, and the reality is beginning to set in. The ordinary routines of daily life, getting ready for work, sending kids to school, planning meals, are suddenly overshadowed by a growing fear of what tomorrow might bring. We're facing a crisis that will touch millions of lives, reaching into every neighborhood, every community, and every home. The uncertainty is palpable, and the anxiety is spreading as people try to figure out how they'll get by in the days ahead. In just a matter of days, funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known as SNAP or food stamps, will run out. For many, this program is the difference between having food on the table and going hungry. 42 million Americans, children, parents, seniors, are at risk of losing the help they need to eat. That's nearly 1 in 8 people in this country, suddenly facing the possibility of empty plates and empty pantries. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced that, starting November 1st, no federal food aid will be sent out. The safety net that millions rely on is about to vanish, and the countdown has begun. This has never happened before, not on this scale, not because of a government shutdown. The headlines are everywhere, and the shock is rippling through communities large and small. We're talking about real people, children who need breakfast before school, seniors who rely on a fixed income, working families already struggling to make ends meet. For them, this isn't just a headline, it's a daily reality. The government has been partially shut down for nearly a month, and this time, the consequences are more severe than ever before. The ripple effects are being felt in every corner of the nation. Political gridlock has turned basic survival into a bargaining chip. While leaders argue, families are left to wonder how they'll get through the week. For those affected, this isn't about politics or policy debates, it's about whether they can feed their families tonight, and what sacrifices they'll have to make tomorrow. Federal workers, single parents, disabled veterans, no one is immune. The impact is widespread, touching people from all walks of life, in every state. This is a test of our nation's character. In times of crisis, we see what we're truly made of. How we come together, how we support one another, and how we rise to meet the challenge. The world is watching to see how we respond, not just our leaders, but all of us. What happens next will define us, and the choices we make now will echo for years to come. SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, isn't just a government program. It's a lifeline for millions of Americans who struggle to put food on the table every single day. It's often called food stamps, but today, it's so much more than that. It's a bridge between hunger and hope, making sure that families, children, and individuals don't have to face empty cupboards or skipped meals. SNAP helps low-income families, seniors living on fixed incomes, and people with disabilities afford groceries, basic necessities that many of us take for granted. For millions, it's the difference between having a meal and going hungry. Benefits are loaded onto an EBT card each month, which works just like a debit card at the grocery store. But unlike a regular debit card, it can only be used for food. No cashback, no splurges, just the essentials. SNAP can't be used for non-food items, alcohol, or hot meals from the deli. It's strictly for groceries, things like bread, milk, fresh fruits and vegetables, and other staples that form the foundation of a healthy diet. The average benefit is about $1.40 per person per meal. It's not a lot, but for families living paycheck to paycheck, every dollar counts. That small amount can mean the difference between a child having breakfast before school or going without. For families on the edge, that modest benefit means a child isn't hungry at school, a senior doesn't have to skip dinner, and parents can worry a little less about how they'll feed their loved ones tomorrow. Hunger is often invisible. It could be your neighbor, a coworker, or even someone in your own family. You might not see it, but it's there, quietly affecting people all around us in every community, big or small. Nearly 2/3 of SNAP recipients are in families with children. Over a third are seniors or people with disabilities. These are our friends, our relatives, our neighbors, people who deserve dignity and a fair shot at a healthy life. Many recipients work hard: cashiers, home health aides, service workers, jobs that are essential to our communities, but often don't pay enough to cover both rent and food. SNAP helps fill that gap, so working families don't have to choose between paying bills and eating. SNAP is more than just assistance. It's a support system that keeps families afloat during tough times, helping them get back on their feet and move forward with hope. Taking it away would pull the rug out from under millions, forcing families to make impossible choices and deepening the cycle of poverty and hunger. In the wealthiest nation on earth, no one should go hungry. Access to food is a basic human right, and SNAP is one of the most effective tools we have to fight hunger in America. SNAP is a promise we can't afford to break, a commitment to our neighbors, our families, and our future. Together, we can ensure that everyone has enough to eat. Why is SNAP on the brink? Because of a political standoff in Washington. The Trump administration and Congressional Democrats can't agree on a budget. Republicans want a clean funding bill with no extra provisions. Democrats want commitments on their priorities. Both sides are dug in, and while they argue, the clock is ticking for 42 million Americans. The USDA says it has no money for November's SNAP benefits. $8 to $9 billion is needed each month. Meanwhile, the government found $20 billion for a bailout to Argentina, fueling outrage. The contrast is stark: money for international aid, but not to feed Americans. As leaders argue, families panic, and the divide grows deeper. This isn't just politics. It's a real, immediate crisis. The stakes couldn't be higher. Behind the number, 42 million, are real people facing fear and uncertainty. A single mother in Ohio, working 2 jobs, wonders how she'll feed her kids next week. Furloughed federal workers, now unpaid, are applying for SNAP for the first time, only to find the help may vanish. New applicants, hit by job loss or medical emergencies, will find the system frozen. The emotional toll is crushing: anxiety, stress, and the fear of not knowing where the next meal will come from. This isn't just about money. It's about dignity and hope. President Trump says, everyone will be in good shape, but offers no plan. For millions, empty promises don't fill empty stomachs. The safety net is unraveling. The human cost is immeasurable. These stories are everywhere, in every community. The need for real solutions is urgent. The SNAP crisis ripples far beyond recipients. It's not just a story of individual hardship. It's a shockwave that moves through entire communities, affecting people from all walks of life, whether they realize it or not. Food banks, already stretched thin, are bracing for a surge in need they can't possibly meet. Shelves that were once full are now emptying faster than ever, and volunteers are working overtime just to keep up. A $9 billion monthly shortfall is too big for charity alone. No matter how generous communities are, the gap is simply too wide for donations to fill. Local grocery stores will see sales plummet. Every SNAP dollar generates $1.50 in economic activity. When families can't afford groceries, stores lose customers, and the local economy takes a direct hit. Reduced sales mean layoffs, cut hours, and even store closures, especially in rural and low-income areas. Small businesses that rely on steady foot traffic may not survive the downturn. Farmers, truck drivers, and the entire food supply chain will feel the pain. When demand drops, crops go unsold, trucks sit idle, and warehouses slow to a crawl, impacting jobs and livelihoods across the country. This is an economic crisis as much as a social one. The effects ripple outward, touching every sector, from agriculture to retail, and threatening the stability of local economies. When hunger rises, so does desperation, threatening the stability of our communities. Children go to bed hungry, parents face impossible choices, and the sense of security we often take for granted begins to erode. We're all connected. When millions suffer, the ripple effects touch us all. The well-being of our neighbors shapes the health of our society as a whole. The question is, will we step up for our neighbors? Will we find ways to support one another, to bridge the gap, and to ensure no one is left behind? Ignoring this crisis isn't an option. The consequences of inaction will be felt for years to come, affecting generations. The fabric of our society depends on how we respond. Our values are tested in moments like these. Will we rise to meet the challenge? Their crisis is our crisis. The choices we make now will define who we are as a nation. At the heart of this crisis is a legal fight over SNAP's contingency fund, $5 to $6 billion that could help. The Trump administration says the law forbids using it for regular benefits during a shutdown. Democrats and hunger advocates argue the USDA secretary has the authority to use it now. Lawsuits are being prepared to force the government's hand. Republican leaders warn that using the fund could jeopardize other nutrition programs, like WIC and school meals. The debate is fierce, But families can't wait for legal arguments. Is a shutdown that cuts off food for millions not an emergency? While politicians argue, grocery carts stay empty. The real question: what's right, not just what's legal? The clock is ticking. With Washington deadlocked, some states are scrambling to help. A few will try to pay benefits themselves, hoping for later reimbursement, but they can't sustain it. Others, unable to help, are telling families to turn to food pantries already stretched to the limit. In Congress, a handful of Republicans want a standalone bill to fund SNAP, but party leaders resist, fearing it weakens their negotiating power. The lack of a unified plan is a stunning failure of leadership. Families are left in limbo, hoping for a last-minute solution. The safety net is fraying and time is running out. As of today, the path forward is dangerously unclear. If no deal is reached, SNAP benefits stop on November 1st, triggering a nationwide hunger crisis. The consequences will be immediate. Millions will wake up to empty EBT cards. Pressure is mounting from unions, military families, and the public. The best hope is a short-term funding bill or a standalone SNAP fix. The worst-case scenario? Nothing happens, and millions are left to fend for themselves. This would be a moral and political disaster. Our economy, charities, and communities would be overwhelmed. We can't let this become our reality. The stakes are too high. Our leaders must act, now. In moments like this, it's easy to feel powerless. But we're not. Our voices and actions matter. Call your representatives. Demand a solution now. Tell them cutting off food assistance for 42 million is unacceptable. Public pressure works. Let them know you're watching. Support your local food bank with donations or time. They need us more than ever. Every can, every dollar, every hour helps a neighbor. This is a moment to show up for each other, even if our leaders fail us. Remember, the family struggling with hunger is part of our community. Their future is our future. We must lead with empathy and demand our leaders put people over politics. In America, no one should wonder where their next meal will come from. We can do this together.